Last episode, Hari ran into a few of her friends after a day out. Amongst them is Min-woo's girlfriend who doesn't like her and pressures her to show them her amazing boyfriend. In a nick of time, Tae-mu swoops in like a knight in shining armor and proclaims that he is, in fact, Hari's boyfriend, shocking both Hari's friends and Hari herself. Hello everyone, welcome back to 10-minute recaps. Today, we'll be watching episode 7 of Business Proposal. Min-woo's girlfriend can't believe Hari's dating someone like Tae-mu and insists that they have dinner together, hoping to expose Tae-mu, whether he's been hired by Hari to act as her boyfriend or whether he's a scammer after Hari's money. Before they sit down, Tae-mu finds a moment to apologise to Hari for abandoning her in the rain. He's going to make it up to her by being the best boyfriend ever. But really, he's the cheesiest boyfriend ever. He comes out with lines like, "I'll pay for everyone's meal and accommodation at the hotel with a credit card that's unlimited. Just like my love for Hari. My girlfriend's so beautiful, I'm fooled just from watching her. And I have to take you to the toilet. I'll get depression if you leave my side for so long." The lines might be cheesy, but they work wonders in crushing Min-woo's girlfriend. The highlight of the meal comes when the friends ask which department of Hari's job Tae-mu works in. Which department does the CEO belong to? Tae-mu's answer shocks everyone once again, and Hari gets to show Min-woo's girlfriend who's boss for once and for all. Hari might have successfully dealt with the problem of her friends, but another bigger problem appears. To keep up the lie, Hari and Tae-mu need to live together in the same room. This is the first time Hari's ever spent the night alone with a guy, and the thought makes her super nervous. Because she only expected to be here for one day, she hasn't brought any spare clothes, and she can't decide if she should change into her bathrobe. Eventually, she decides to come out fully dressed, because her phone is blowing up with notifications. Everyone wants to know more about her relationship, which makes Hari nervous because Min-woo will hear about Tae-mu. Tae-mu's a little sad that Hari's still concerned with Min-woo, but Hari retaliates that she's only worried about Tae-mu needing to pretend to be her boyfriend whenever he sees Min-woo, which cheers Tae-mu up. At the same time, Hari's fear is coming true. Min-woo rushes to the hotel late after work and gets the shock of his life when he hears that Tae-mu is dating Hari. The next morning back in Seoul, Yong-seol wakes up in Sung-hoon's flat with no memory of last night. After some effort, she finally remembers their kiss and automatically assumes they did a lot more. When Sung-hoon comes home, the embarrassed Yong-seol tells him to forget last night ever happened and hastily leaves, leaving a bemused and disappointed Sung-hoon behind. Over at the seaside resort, Hari gets woken up by a call from Tae-mu, who's gone to the gym. It turns out that the attentive Tae-mu has ordered a range of designer clothes for Hari to choose from, so she doesn't need to wear the same clothes again. Once she's dressed, she runs into Min-woo and Tae-mu. Min-woo invites them on their trip, but Tae-mu gets a call. There's a work emergency in Seoul that he needs to go back for. But when he sees the way Min-woo looks at Hari, Tae-mu's jealousy rises. He casts aside any notion of work and decides to stay to protect Hari. He gets them all on his private yacht to go watch dolphins, something he knows that Hari has always wanted to do. On the yacht, Min-woo starts quizzing them on how they got together. Without any hesitation, Tae-mu declares that he fell in love at first sight and pursued Hari relentlessly. Hari's a little flustered by Tae-mu's amazing lying skills, without knowing that they're not lies. Afterwards, Min-woo corners Tae-mu. He can't believe that a rich and powerful Tae-mu would be interested in the ordinary Hari. In response, Tae-mu coldly shoots back that in his eyes, Hari is far from ordinary, and he hates the sort of people who look at wealth before deciding whether or not to date someone. The rivalry between them is officially open. When Tae-mu hears that Min-woo is great at fishing, he immediately starts fishing as well, hoping to beat Min-woo so badly that he doesn't notice Hari is sick. Finally, they get to shore and the worried Tae-mu drives Hari off to find a hospital. When Min-woo's girlfriend sees how worried he is about Hari, you can see she gets angry. Meanwhile, Sung-hoon is drinking alone. He wanted to call Tae-mu out for drinks, but got ignored by Tae-mu, who was worried sick about Hari. It turns out that he had fallen in love with Young-sil at first sight as well, and had finally decided to date her after last night, but got thrown off by Young-sil's behaviour in the morning. When Hari gets out of the hospital, Tae-mu takes the chance to confess properly and propose that they date. Hari doesn't know how to respond and runs away without answering him. When she gets home, her mum doesn't notice anything wrong and gives her a new pretty set of clothes. When she wears it the next morning, her family are all amazed. But right before she leaves, she thinks that dressing so well after getting confessed to seems inappropriate and decides to change into something uglier. At work, Tae-mu is in trouble. Granddad has found out that Tae-mu went on a date with Hari, but because she wasn't wearing her Gurmi disguise, he thinks that Tae-mu is cheating on Gurmi. Tae-mu manages to save himself by saying that they split up and he's now dating a different woman. Afterwards, Tae-mu tells Sung-hoon that he confessed to Hari, but hasn't gotten a reply yet. Sung-hoon points out that this is basically a rejection, a suggestion that Tae-mu takes great offence to and denies. She's considering it, not rejecting me! Meanwhile, Hari is having lunch with Young-sil and exchanging their secrets. When Young-sil hears Tae-mu confessed, she points out that Tae-mu's liked her for a long time because of how much he helped them during the pervert incident. When Young-sil gets home, she runs into Sung-hoon, who takes the chance to admit that he's liked her since the first moment he saw her too. When Young-sil hears this, she explains that the only reason she said they should forget what happened last night is because she forgot everything and was embarrassed. When Sung-hoon hears this, he gently tells her not to worry. He's going to remind her exactly what they did. Hopefully, their neighbours won't be kept awake by any loud noises. Over the next week, Hari tries her best to avoid Tae-mu, so she doesn't need to answer the big question. Eventually, Tae-mu can't stand it anymore and confronts her, forcing her to give him an answer. Hari rejects him because she feels that their social standing is just too far apart. Tae-mu accepts her rejection, then confesses again. He tells her that he's going to keep confessing until she says yes. Hari doesn't know what to do. Of course she likes Tae-mu, who wouldn't? But their relationship would cause her so many issues at work. Tae-mu assures her that he'll protect her from any of that happening. At the end, Hari can't suppress her true feelings anymore and kisses Tae-mu aggressively. Wow, in the space of one episode, both couples have confirmed their relationships. How amazing! If you'd like to see what happens next, be sure to like and subscribe.